Over the weekend, I was at a meeting in Denver, and we got to without going into all the whole long details, there was a conversation about net neutrality, and one of the more outspoken advocates of net neutrality came in and talked to our group, and it was like the consensus was we need to go for what's called Title II reform, or regulation of the internet as a common carrier. And in fact, we need to go even beyond that. We need to go to open access. And now what Title II common carrier means is that the internet is regulated the way your telephone service is. Your phone company cannot charge you based on what you're talking about. They can't listen to your conversation and say, he's having a business conversation. I think we'll charge him 10 cents a minute. Or, another call, well, it sounds like she's talking to her grandmother. I think we'll charge her 3 cents a minute. They can't do that. It's against the law. It's against the regulations because they're a common carrier. Regardless of what they're carrying, regardless of the content, regardless of where it comes from, who it goes to, it's the same price. Unless it's, outside the United States, in which case they can charge a premium for it. So this is the way to do it with the internet, to say, your internet service provider, Comcast is providing your internet. They can't look at what you're downloading and say, he's downloading Netflix. I think we'll charge him extra. And by the way, over the weekend, Netflix just cut a deal with Comcast to pay them millions and millions of dollars to have free access to your home. Or not free access, to have high-speed access to your home. This is wrong. I mean, this is just, plain old flat-out crazy. And that's on the kind of wholesale end. I mean, that's Netflix paying for back-end big pipe access. But at the local end, this is where it's really going to hit Americans. And now on top of that, we've got 19 states, if my memory is correct, that have passed laws making what Chattanooga did illegal in their states. Chattanooga, Tennessee, built out their own citywide fiber optic system for high-speed broadband, and they've got the fastest high-speed broadband in the country. There are companies moving to Chattanooga specifically because of this. The people there are more engaged. This should be a civic responsibility. But in 19 states, there's this ALEC legislation that the Koch brothers and the big telecom companies have sponsored that has been adopted now in 19 Republican-controlled states that say it's illegal to do what Chattanooga did. You can't have a community-owned broadband service. It has to be owned by a for-profit corporation where some billionaire can make a buck off it. So anyhow, the holy grail in net, there's actually two. One is this open access. That means that any internet service provider can access, you can take your choice of hundreds of different internet companies. And if you have your broadband through Comcast cable, Comcast has to step aside and let that particular, whichever company you pick, be your internet service provider. They can charge that internet service provider a small fee for the use of their copper, but of their cable into your house. But you have to have multiple internet service providers. That's not something that the president has come out in favor of, but I'm hoping he will. One, here is what President Obama had to say. This just went up on the whitehouse.gov.
This set of principles, the idea of net neutrality, has unleashed the power of the internet and given innovators the chance to thrive. Abandoning these principles would threaten to end the internet as we know it. That's why I'm laying out a plan to keep the internet free and open. And that's why I'm urging the Federal Communications Commission to do everything they can to protect net neutrality for everyone.
There you go. Free and open. Now, I don't know that he means open like I'm talking about open, but at least, no more fees. And in fact, here's the details. This is clip number 2. He lays out some.
They should make it clear that whether you use a computer, phone, or tablet, internet providers have a legal obligation not to block or limit your access to a website. Cable companies can't decide which online stores you can shop at or which streaming services you can use. And they can't let any company pay for priority over its competitors.
Under current law, they can, but he's saying they shouldn't be able to. Here he is talking about Title II, and this is the magic phrase, and you don't have to be a telecom wonk to memorize this. We want Title II common carrier status. This is the telco language for it so that your cable company, just like your phone company, can't listen in on what you're doing and charge you different prices or give you different speeds for it. Here's the president.
To put these protections in place, I'm asking the FCC to reclassify Internet service under Title II of a law known as the Telecommunications Act. In plain English, I'm asking them to recognize that for most Americans, the Internet has become an essential part of everyday communication and everyday life.
And then finally, he points out, the FCC, I can't tell the FCC what to do. There's equal numbers of Democrats and Republicans on it, if my recollection is correct, or is it five? Is there one? There's one more Democrat than Republicans. That's right. Tom Wheeler is the chairman, a former telecommunications lobbyist for Comcast or Verizon. He was one of those companies. This is kind of the bad news. But anyhow, here's what the president had to say about the FCC.
The FCC is an independent agency, and ultimately this decision is theirs alone. But the public has already commented nearly 4 million times asking the FCC to make sure that consumers, not the cable company, gets to decide which sites they use. Americans are making their voices heard and standing up for the principles that make the Internet a powerful force for change. As long as I'm president, that's what I'll be fighting for too.
So, this is great news. This is a big deal. By the way, later on in the program, Dr. Elena George is going to be on. We're going to debate Obamacare, and in our third hour, Lori Wallach is going to be here about TPP. The president now calling for SHAFTA to be passed, and this is like he's making Bill Clinton mistakes. It's Bill Clinton was the one who brought us NAFTA and CAFTA, or at least NAFTA. I think CAFTA was under Bush. And now Obama wants to bring us SHAFTA. And the American people, I think, by and large, don't want this stuff. But the big corporations do, which is really tragic.